All right, Simon Haigh, be your own best friend. Ooh, I love that. I worked with a client who did a book with that title. Tell us more.
Yeah. Well, I guess this, this comes out of learning that through coming out of the dark place I was in was that for many years I didn't love myself. I didn't love myself. I treated myself like a vehicle, right? And as as I came out of that and I started to love myself and respect myself more. And also from a health perspective, I do quite a lot of work around burnout, and there's about 12 different stages of getting to burnout. Not everybody does, but earlier than you think, right? Around stage 3 or 4, when you start making excuses for yourself or start lying to yourself, right?
Ooh,
That's when you're in trouble, right?
yeah.
Unfortunately, most people carry on, right? And so that self-honesty thing, if you can't be honest with yourself, you're not your own best friend, are you? And so you have to be your own best friend. You have to support yourself, and you need to listen to yourself as well, and listen to your body and listen to your heart. And it's not easy though, Linda,
No,
because
no.
ego, as we've discussed before, always gets in the way, right? And the mind starts whispering, Simon, this is a load of rubbish. Just, you don't need to be doing this stuff. And so the ego starts whispering, but you have to kind of push that stuff away and just be pure of thought, and
Mm.
that's what I mean.
Right? Yeah. And when I think of ego, I think of a 9-year-old. And instead of killing the 9-year-old, pushing the 9-year-old away, transcending or whatever away from it, it's like, thank you, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that really lets go of a lot of the fuse that's going on. And
Yeah.
then is like, is that true? Right. And we kind of have like the child self and the adult self, right? And we can really split and just start living from the child self or living from the adult self too. So
Yeah.
understanding and acknowledging we have both, and that's okay. And then we have the ego, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, then it's like what is true in this moment for me, and coming from that adult, right? And what is the kernel of truth of what I am hearing, right? And if you're being your own best friend, if that's your filter, then like the truth is going to set you free, if you will.
Yeah. It's
So I
true.
love that. Yeah. So
It's
saying
true.
thank you is huge. And just, saying thank you for life, for
Yeah.
waking up in the morning. What a great uh upper, right? That
Yeah. Well,
is.
that's one of the things I was taught to do, when I was in the dark place 15 years ago, was to have a gratitude list. I mean, I don't do it
Nice.
every day, but I did for a long time, when I woke up in the morning, just have a pen and paper by the side of your bed. And before you do anything else, before you reach for your phone or you go downstairs, just write three things, it takes 10 seconds, right? 15 seconds, right? Three things that you're grateful for having woken up. Like this morning, it would have been, I'm grateful my wife's next to me, I'm in a clean bed, and I've got a nice day ahead. And the same thing at the end of the day, the last thing you do before you turn the light out, write three things you are grateful for today. And if you keep doing that, we are what we think and who we associate with. The more you do that, the more likely you are to have an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could write three things you're miserable about. I guarantee you're going to feel miserable. So why don't you have a gratitude list?
Yeah. And sometimes dumping out the ego needs to be heard, right? So dumping
Yeah,
out those three things that you're pretty upset about and then
absolutely.
neutralizing those and
Absolutely.
going for what you are thankful for
Yeah,
helps too. I
absolutely.
love it.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So push away resentments. What comes up for you when you think about that?
This is huge for me. And so for me, there's many reasons why people fall into addiction, etc., etc. But for me, they're often around fear and anger. But for me, the big one was resentment, and
Okay.
uh, which is carrying negative feelings about other people. And they did me wrong, and so I'll show them. I'll get my own
Yeah.
back on them. Just for me, carrying resentment, that negative feeling about other people, is a complete and utter waste of time. It's like putting cancer into your body, right? Because the irony is the other
Cancer's
person.
already in our bodies. So
I
it's
know,
just
but
like growing it or not, right? And it's
exactly.
gonna
It's like
grow.
it's like
Resentment's
ma
gonna be there, right? We all get hit with
exactly.
that sense of
I
resentment.
agree. I
What do we
agree.
do with it?
But
Yeah,
if
do
you
we
keep
grow it?
feed if you feed it, it's going to get bigger and bigger. And so so I've kind of I really, really, really work hard at not allowing resentments to stay within me too much. Of course they're going to crop up, but
Yeah,
uh,
we're
I'll
human.
give you I'll give you a little tiny example. I for the first time in 30 years, my wife and I bought a new car a couple of years ago, and the very first day I got it clamped, right? I got a clamp put on the car because I parked in the wrong place. And my initial feeling when I came back to the car was resentment. How dare they get me? This is not fair.
Yeah.
Poor.
Why do we do that when we're the one in the wrong, right?
Exactly. And
We
so
do.
I stopped and I thought to myself, Simon, stop this. Be
Yep.
grateful for
There's the child and the parent right there, right?
exactly. Be grateful for that, for the fact you have a new car. Be grateful for the fact that it's only going to cost you $80 to get rid of this thing. Actually, ultimately, I got the money back because they were wrong,
Oh,
right? And
oh,
maybe the
they were
universe,
actually
yeah,
wrong. Oh, cool.
maybe the universe is watching. But the point is that you can kind of wash away some of that resentment by
Yeah.
focusing on the things to be grateful for. So I think that's so important, is to push away resentments. It's hard, but it's so important, Linda.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're gonna allow the resentment to pop up,
Absolutely.
because we can take that stuff and it's like, oh, I'm not going to let resentment, come up, and I'm not gonna, and then you're just pushing down emotions and eating emotions, and
Absolutely.
you're going to probably kill somebody someday. You're
I
just
agree.
going to
It'll
explode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll bubble up. You're right.
Yeah. So allowing yourself to be human, knowing, hey, resentments are going to come up, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, wait,
Yeah.
and the more you do the parenting thing, the less they will come up. But
Yeah.
being okay that they do is a big piece for
Yeah.
sanity
Yeah.
and for our
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell people you love them. We hear it all the time, like, I didn't know it was my dad's last day out the door, or I
Yeah.
didn't know this, and I didn't know that 9/11 taught us
I know.
such a beautiful lesson there.
I know. I know. And what I mean by this is it doesn't have to manifest itself with you being, saying I love you to everybody you meet, but definitely, I mean, it's good to say it, right? Definitely with your close relatives and your best friends, because as you said, you don't know. It could be the last time you see them, right? And so you don't want to regret that. The other thing, though, then is to try and find a common ground with people. Try and build rapport. Try and see the good in people. And also something that somebody said to me, which has never left me, which is part of this tell people you love them. It's when you meet somebody, try your hardest, and you're not going to do it with everybody, but try your hardest to make them feel better for having met you,
Yeah.
really put the effort in, and it's not going to work with everybody. So there's lots of aspects of telling people you love them. That's what I mean.
I love that. Well, and if you would like get off a phone call and go, oh, I love that guy, or I love her, or
Yeah,
whatever, to somebody else, make sure
yeah,
you're saying it to them. Like you said, you don't have to go around telling everybody you love them,
yeah, yeah,
but that feeling comes up for you. There's all different kinds of love. It's like, I love you. You're great, or whatever.
yeah.
That's huge. That's really huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. As I said, we are what we think and who we associate with. And the more you practice these positive things, everything starts with our thoughts, then it goes with our feelings and then
Yeah.
behaviors and physical symptoms. So
Hmm.
why not have a positive outlook, right? Why
Yeah.
not? We don't have many alternatives,
No,
so
it's
that's what I
all,
mean. That's what I
yeah,
mean.
it's all about it's all an energy thing. It's keeping
It
our
is.
energy high. What keeps our energy high? Everything you've been talking about. And like, I teach the seven lies, like, I don't know. Yeah, you do. You actually do,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
I can't. Yeah, you actually can. There's that child and parent thing again.
yeah,
So that keeps our energy really high, and that keeps us
yeah.
super positive too.
You're
Thank
right.
you so much, Simon. This has been
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.